Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. We get to put a bow on the NFC East today with the expected title winners.
Put a bow.
Yeah, let's put a bow on it, Andy. Expected NFC East winner by market is your Philadelphia Eagles. This is a team that's coming off of a relatively disappointing title defense. They were 11-6 in the regular season last year, won the NFC East going away, but it was a very uncomfortable 11-6. They overperformed by expected win-loss. They were expected to win 10, so in general, I think got a bit lucky. There were some specific lucky examples, like when Jordan Davis blocked the game-winning field goal by the Rams and ran it back for a touchdown. There were also, some lows down the home stretch, in particular, a 3-game swoon where a lot of people were watching. Lost to the Cowboys, lost to the Bears, lost to the Chargers, and they were 8-5, holding on to a pretty weak playoff position at that time. And the problems were clear. The MVP quarterback from the Super Bowl, Mr. Jalen Hurts, was underperforming. The tension in the locker room was not overblown by Philly media standards, which is saying a lot. What ended, the run which ended in the wild card round of the playoffs to a convincing loss to the 49ers, had the whiffs of the end of an era of trying to compete for championships. They may only have gotten one title run out of what was a very, very strong nucleus, because AJ Brown is gone. We're on to another offensive coordinator. Yeah, no, absolutely.
There's a lot of these eras of like, shit, this team's amazing, and they get zero. Some of them get 0 bites at the apple in the Super Bowl at all.
We're looking at you, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. The super team that Howie built that just absolutely mopped the floor with the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl prior, was really just nowhere to be seen on the field last year. Still backed them up. People still took them at the start of the playoffs. This was the team that was going to come out of the NFC. Those people were not us, thankfully. Did not have any regrets being off of the Philly bandwagon as I watched that playoff loss to the Niners. It inspired some serious turnover of both the roster and the coaching staff in the offseason. The big question is, for a guy who won a Super Bowl, for two men who won a Super Bowl in very recent memory, it feels like the tide is close to turning on Jalen Hurts, the MVP, and Nick Sirianni as the head coach. It's crazy.
There are some fan bases who turn faster. I'm sorry, Philadelphians. Although one of you assholes took the wheels off DeVonta's car.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw that. So we're not happy with you.
The gang opens the chop shop.
Yeah, I hope you don't get to go to any Eagles games this fall. I don't know. I mean, you covered most of it. It's the Super Bowl defense. Sometimes you see a team really fall off. They still won their division. They had a good winning record, but it was injuries up front, which, every fantasy analyst, I'm sure, took a big victory lap on like, hey, Saquon had half as many yards as he did the year before. And I said that he wouldn't. A lot of it was just, hey, the interior of the offensive line was busted after week 4, and the run blocking was hot garbage for 13, 14 weeks. And that mattered a lot to what they did right offensively 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think something else that mattered was not having Kevin Patullo call plays. As depends how you feel about Kellen Moore, but I think it was a downgrade there. We're obviously seeing a change again there. There's a lot of teams. God, I want to give. I mean, this isn't like some scoop that I should give them credit for, but the Athletic sent out a couple articles, and I had forgotten it was 21 new offensive coordinators in the league this year.
Good Lordy.
And not all of them call plays, but that's still so many. And then 14 DCs, even division winning teams. I mean, usually a division-winning team, it's like, somebody sniped our guy. It's like, no, that's not what happened here. It's not. You weren't the Lions of 2 years ago. Were like, oh man, all our coaches are becoming head coaches elsewhere. This stinks. It's like, no, you needed to make a change. I think that was outside of there was some free agency stuff that's worth.
Patullo gets a D for his performance last year.
It was tough, and honestly, Jalen Hurts wasn't terrible. Go look at his numbers. It was just,
but the clear and obvious signs of a regression
I think
were
it was
there.
Patullo. I want to blame it on Patullo. Like, go look at his stats. I think he only threw 6 picks.
Let's cut up the pie. Let's cut up the pie.
I mean, it's not all. It's some of it is Jalen Hurts. He is not as good as he was that Super Bowl year where the offense was just humming, and I think some of that was system. But I mean, it's not like he had a horrid year.
Yeah. There was bound to be regression because what Saquon did 2 years ago was impossible to repeat. And you mentioned it. There was extenuating circumstances regarding health and availability of key offensive linemen that contributed. So one slice of the pie, I'm going to say a small one, goes to just natural regression. One bigger slice of the pie, I think actually the rest of the pie, we can just cut it up into 2 pieces. The scheme was terrible. Patullo deserves a ton of the blame. And Jalen Hurts specifically regressed. He was indecisive. He was unable. He was much less effective scrambling. They didn't even really stop using the tush push as much as they didn't have as many opportunities of short yardage conversion. And he never really was on the same page with his most important weapon in the passing game in AJ Brown, outside of a couple very small examples. And I think,
and that's the question, Drew, was some of it's him for sure, the blame pie, if we're doing the blame pie, but that's the question going into this year. Was some of it, or how much of it was the scheme? Does any of that get fixed with a guy we don't know a ton about? Or is it just natural regression coming off a high? Because even when a player's a better player than, a really elite player hits their high, teams adjust to that. And I think there was that plus Patullo's scheme kind of working against him, and they didn't make enough counter adjustments to make him as effective as he was 2 years ago. That's kind of the offensive line injuries and him not playing well in Patullo's scheme. It's kind of the whole story. The defense was fine.
Oh yeah, defense was excellent.
It was really good actually.
Here's my general thought. I kind of want to bet against the Eagles this year because I think their 2024 Super Bowl run was fueled by a perfect confluence of Hurts peaking as an operator, peaking as a man. Like kids, think about what his skill set is, right? Is it the type of skill set that has a 10-year career of excellence in the NFL? No, it has a relatively short peak, and his best and most effective pass is the deep ball. He was paired with AJ Brown, who is one of the most effective route runners and separators on deep balls. And he got an absolutely elite back in his prime behind the best offensive line in football. And it was just like, he kind of couldn't fuck it up. He couldn't fuck it up. It was timing.
They picked him up and carried him to the end zone. Like, hey, you win. You win.
I honestly think that there is a world where he hit his ceiling. We saw it. And I don't know that there's a change in offensive coordinator fixes things. I think there's absolutely a world where, I think there's a world where I am being too soft on the Eagles and the impact of losing AJ Brown.
Yeah. We'll see that there's a lot to go over. We'll get to that next, but yeah, that part's interesting too. The roster turnover. I do think we should spend a little more time on Sean Mannion. I'm pretty sure I bet on him in a preseason game just because Zimmer would always I feel like he was in that era. He was like a Vikings backup quarterback.
Sean Mannion. I forgot he was a backup.
he played like game 2 of the preseason. They're like Zimmer, and I'm going to lay the Vikings -3 here or something. We're going to find that, but I don't know a ton. It's a, the case against him, he's never called plays, not in the NFL, not as a coordinator anywhere. I mean, that's where doing a case against him, but he does come from the LaFleur and further up the Shanahan tree. It's probably what the system, what the roster needs for a system. Gap runs, wide zone, a lot of play action. You have a bell cow back as your engine anyway. You brought in some relief for him. It's a decent scheme marriage for, sack and a play action quarterback. I guess he was a quarterback. I kind of give a bump to those guys because they're a little smarter. You got to be pretty smart to even be honestly, backup quarterbacks are probably smarter than some starters.
That idea that you just put out there, we're going to get an answer one way or the other this year because there's
so many. All of them.
Yes,
that's very funny.
It's kind of a theme this year is, let's give it to the guy who held the clipboard. For all of those years.
And I'll get, spoiling down the road. I think the ceiling is high for Mannion if the scheme fits, because he has some decent pieces and it's not like, hey, this is a quarterback that did it 8 years ago, 5 years ago, or a running back who's, he was good in his prime. These are guys 2 years ago, 1 year ago, pretty elite players. You're bringing in some other pieces. You're bringing in a good rookie wide receiver. If the scheme works, I think he has a high ceiling, but again, it's a guy who's never called plays, never had to run the entire offense. So the floor is low as well, because sometimes shit just don't work out and you get another Patullo.
I also wonder if the part of the Patullo fail and the way it kind of played out. Okay, goddamn, I have so many thoughts on this. It's going to be tough to pull them all into one coherent thing that just doesn't sound like garbage, but I'm going to try. Part of the reason Patullo failed, beyond just his inability to kind of see the problems and adjust to what wasn't working, was that it didn't ever really feel like he was well supported by his head coach. And Sirianni doesn't really have, kind of good leadership, in my opinion, with a locker room that was full of personalities. I think there are whiffs of Jalen Hurts has got a little bit of wide receiver diva characteristics where it's like he gets the Super Bowl MVP, he's finally validated, and he was a little bit unwilling to kind of be taught last year and be asked to do things differently. And in general was, I think a little bit, he made bad decisions within a bad system, which compounded some of the inefficiency. I think that there's definitely a world where an inexperienced Sean Mannion has a little bit of LaFleur Midas touch in him and does, conduct the symphony brilliantly. But I also think there's a world where if it's not going well over a sustained stretch this season, it's a rerun of Mannion, where the head coach doesn't want to take responsibility, can't keep the players from, publicly bashing the system, can't kind of exude a level of we should be trusted to fix this among the media and the fans, and it spirals and it becomes a blame game, because I think Hurts is on the hot seat as far as the Eagles fandom kind of deciding he's not a good enough guy to carry forward. And I think Sirianni's on the hot seat as if they don't win a playoff game this year, he's probably gone. Am I crazy?
I don't know that it's crazy. I think it'd be crazy in other places, but man, we've seen it.
Doug Peterson lasted how long after he?
Yeah,
how long did he last after he won a Super Bowl?
It's crazy. It was only a couple of years, and it's
really,
what if we? And that's what I'm saying. Like in another situation with a different ownership group.
I like the owners in Philly too. It's mostly just that they have to deal with a psycho fan base, and I think everybody rightfully looks at what Howie Roseman has done as far as roster construction and is pretty damn impressed. What else can he do? I mean, realistically, if this is not working, one of the things to do is to try another head coach. And I think that right away puts Sirianni on a bit of a hot seat.
Yeah, no, I don't know that I want, and Birdie disagrees with the scheme. I don't want Hurts under center. No, I mean, he's a shotgun type quarterback, at least, shotgun pistol, all that. more RPO stuff, more. You don't want to change someone that deep into his career, definitely, but you do.
I think you do, though.
You do need to do it differently than last year.
I honestly think Hurts is going to have to do some self-reflection and figure out areas of his game that he wants to grow and improve, or he is closer to the end than any of us realize.
But I definitely think you can do, if someone's more of a shotgun quarterback, doesn't mean they can never be under center. You don't want to do too much around peg square hole, but early downs, more of a, hey, this is a package we use, more early downs and shots off of play action to Saquon, because you're still gonna get like a couple hundred carries. So definitely I don't know. It feels like despite winning the Super Bowl 2 years ago, different types of quarterbacks would have been even more successful having a running back at their disposal like that. And they just really made it work because the offensive line was so good. The better, cuter, they have Tanner McKee. Bertie, let's just put Tanner McKee in, and they drafted another quarterback too. We'll get to.
There's one other important coaching change. You got it written down?
We mentioned him yesterday. He's in Dallas. Is that the one?
No.
They did Dallas's DC, I think, came from here.
The offensive line coach is who?
Oh, sure. The offensive line should be a strength this year. Boy, I have more questions than you do. We'll get to that.
Chris Cupper is taking over from the quote unquote legendary Jeff Stoutland. We got a lot of examples of history of people taking over for legendary coaches and roles, and everything's just smooth as can be. Not in football. Not in football, we don't.
Yeah.
Not in football, we don't. I think this could be a big deal.
It'll be interesting to me because they did such a damn decent job of getting Kelsey's replacement ready for several years. Where I don't know how much if they knew. I guess I didn't follow how planned this was, but if they had someone job shadowing him for a couple of years, like they did with Kelsey for the center position, it seemed like they've done a good job of replacing people. Obviously that was a player compared to a coach. I don't know. We'll see. I think, and this is a good point by Patrick. Took the words right out of my mouth. They aren't super old in the middle, but it's not like you're starting rookies up there. You have a group that, I know they didn't play a ton of games together as a fivesome last year because of injuries, but it's a group that's familiar with each other. You have a couple of very experienced players on it. Hopefully there's some continuity, but I'm chipping away at the offensive line number compared to where I've been the last couple of years. And that's definitely one of the things that's going to have to take into consideration.
One of the reasons I don't think it's going to be a smooth transition, despite your point about the age, this was not he learned on the job as a young and upcoming protege, so to speak. Last 3 years, he was the Minnesota Vikings offensive line coach. Before that, he spent some time in Denver.
I gotta put in
Miami.
My theory got shot quick. You should have shot it down sooner before you let me go on with it.
Well, I needed to confirm that because I wanted to make sure he didn't even have like 1 year in the building. Yeah. So he is stepping into this role. And honestly, when you take over for a legend, a lot of times there is a little bit of pressure to put your fingerprints on it. So, hey, this could absolutely...
No pressure, bud.
This could absolutely go a different way than we have normally seen because, it is an older group. There is injury risk. There may be some things that, he is working with a new offensive coordinator who may be asking him to do different things. Like, there's potential for disruption in what has been sort of one of the key parts of this offense. Now, those are most of my concerns with the Eagles. This offense might be bottom five. It could, like, the trapdoor could open. Hurts could mightily struggle. Mannion could not work out. The offensive line could get hurt, and Cupper can't coach up the replacements. Like, this offense could has a lower floor than I think the market is respecting. This defense does not. They are going to be very, very, very good.
Yeah.
And
let's get into the other changes before we get too deep into that, because we'll get into power ratings. I think obviously the bigger ones we have to discuss: the AJ Brown trade to New England for some first round picks in first round pick in 28. That sounds like a million years from now. It's crazy how time flies. And a 27 fifth, Jonathan Greenard, a nice piece coming from, boy, talk about getting
strength
to work
and
with
strength.
Getting to not only that, but getting to work with some pretty good DCs. This guy, he went from Houston to Minnesota to Philly here. He's never had a bad coach. Lucky Jonathan Greenard, he was great. Tank Bigsby, change of pace, early downs maybe when you get some stuff. Kick return option. What did Dontavian Wicks? Are we counting him on?
Yeah. He's a
meaningful addition.
Player.
Like he was fine.
Yeah, he's a fun player.
You can do a lot worse for depth. 11 touchdowns for the last 3 seasons. Signed a 1-year deal. He helps backfill there, and then free agent.
He's like one of those guys that the advanced stats absolutely fucking love, but then he never really produced for Green Bay for some reason.
They had too many, they had 9 wide receiver 2s. That was an issue.
He can create separation. He's great at the point of the catch, but for whatever reason, like, it felt like he never really got with the program in Green Bay, which is a little bit of a concern. That said, hey, if the Green Bay quarterbacks coach maybe made a case, hey, we got to go get this guy, maybe he works.
And as you mentioned, the defense should be fine. Added Reek Woolen to an already decent secondary that some pretty good players back there. Hollywood Brown's on this team. I'll say that. I guess maybe still has some vertical. He's only 29. I thought he was older. He's got some outside speed. I can never say this guy's name. The edge from Atlanta. Ebiketie, sure.
Arnold Ebiketie.
Yeah. Rotational pass rush piece. Everyone's a rotational pass rush piece.
Epinesa, solid rotational piece. Yeah. Jonathan Jones is not going to make the team, I don't think. I don't know why they signed him.
He's been around for a while too, but yeah, they don't need that much. I don't think they need depth. That was a weird one. Elijah Moore, maybe makes the team.
I don't know. I'm not sure Elijah Moore and Hollywood Brown make the team. I think they might keep some of the younger guys, see if they can develop them. Because Makai Lemon is going to step in and have a pretty big role, and I think they are thinking Dontavian Wicks is going to be important for them. So, I mean, it was it felt to me like a pretty typical Howie offseason of a lot of really solid decisions. And
even
AJ Brown thing. I guess here's the thing, man.
Even like getting rid of Blankenship.
Was AJ Brown? Was it a? You had to choose one of the two between Hurts and Brown.
I don't. It's not like they.
Do you
did
think they sold? I know they.
Brown? I mean, what did they spend in the offseason outside of they did a bunch of little here and there free agent stuff, but like the Reek Woolen contract's like $15 million. They got rid of Nakobe Dean. It was kind of expensive, I think. Blankenship was making money. What was their like off-season signings? I don't want to get deep into cap stuff, but like re-signing Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, I don't have it.
I don't know. I think it was always just kind of a fit and hey, there's a super big market for this guy. If we can get something good, let's just take it and we can back.
So in there, they decided to sell high on AJ Brown.
It does feel that way to me. I don't know. Maybe somebody who follows the Philly news cycle a little closer has more insight. It doesn't matter either way. He's gone. He will not play for this team this year.
They're also making a bet that DeVonta Smith can step into a bigger role. What is your opinion on that?
He's little. He's still kind of little. But, I mean, he's very good. And, I mean, getting to the draft class, they obviously felt like this was going to happen because with their first round pick, they used.
Yeah, they had Makai Lemon fall in their lap. He was expected to go top 13.
He was 20th, I believe their pick was. So really good slot guy.
Instead of being on your Super Bowl rival Rams, he's on the Eagles. It's a big delta.
A lot of people did mock him to the Rams, didn't they? You also found your, hopefully, Dallas got a replacement someday. You drafted a pretty good tight end in the second round, Eli Stowers. Don't watch college football. Don't know how to say a bunch of these names because for the life of me, I've read it 100 times. Just never heard him. But I didn't watch any Vanderbilt games this year. So sorry. Converted former quarterback. And then the rest of it was, depth stuff. They got a developmental swing tackle in the third round in Markel Bell. As I mentioned, they added a quarterback, which is always fun, a left-handed dual threat. Oh, is he North Dakota? I'm trying to think. North Dakota State. So we've played this game before. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But North Dakota State, almost really good quarterback school. He was good, but it's an FCS, school, whatnot. Tanner McKee's still on the roster, and then depth guard, depth safety, depth defensive tackle, depth edge for round 6 and 7. So, most of it comes down to getting Lemon and getting the tight end. And it's still the sum of the parts. You drafted Lemon, you brought in this Stowers, you go get a couple of wide receivers. Maybe Elijah Moore has something to give. Maybe Hollywood Brown has something to give. Davian Wicks certainly does. But the sum of the parts doesn't add up to an AJ Brown. So likely a little step back there in the skill position spot. And obviously the plan likely to not have to run Saquon. What do you have, like 350, 400 carries? I don't know. It's just, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Like,
it was a lot of
you
touches.
do have to taper. You do have to taper that back and find someone who can be a good change of pace guy.
He had 330 touches last year.
Quite a bit. I don't know. Any other thoughts on changes? Changes.
No, I just thought it was interesting that their draft focused entirely on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, they didn't take a defensive player until the 7th round.
They have a talented and mature
tackle.
defense, and they have a young and lots of questions offense right now, which is interesting for a team rated this highly.
A fun one, and I always have to give it a little bit of credence when it's the Eagles, and they drafted edge piece at 252, but apparently he led college football in total pressures over the past 3 years at New Mexico. So it's kind of like hey, this kid's really good. He played at Marshall. How do you feel about him? I still bet him for Rookie of the Year at some point, didn't I? But they do always just reload at defensive line, so we'll see. I mentioned Blankenship in Houston, Jahan Dotson in Atlanta. AJ Dillon was on this team last year.
Was he?
Maybe.
I
had him written. Yeah. Hey, we're going to look up AJ Dillon. Where is your career taking you? He's in Carolina. I feel like he might have been on this team last year. He was a Philadelphia Eagle. He appeared in 7 games. He's no longer.
What? AJ Dillon? Was he a fullback?
I was going to say, I wrote it down like they lost AJ Dillon. I don't think I screwed that up too bad.
Never.
Nakobe Dean.
Don't remember. I know that one. I remember.
Nakobe Dean. He had a few injuries, and I think it was just, hey, we're letting you walk.
Yeah, overall,
especially they got Baun, they got drafted Jihad Campbell. Such is life.
Yeah.
Can't keep them all.
Yeah, Baun and Campbell are
fine.
I would say they're both great players. At least good, if not great player. Campbell to me is trending as one of the better young linebackers. I'm excited to see how he plays this year. Baun, I think maybe peaked 2 years ago. We'll see. It's a It was, again, typical. It felt like a correct, good offseason for these guys. I think Howie is continuing to manage as good as any manager in the NFL. And the one kind of question mark is, I don't know. It felt like you could have moved on from Sirianni last year if you wanted to, but maybe the proximity to winning the Super Bowl was too close, and they just wanted to give Sirianni another year.
Still is, man.
I don't know, man.
It's like 18 months, man. It's real hard to win a Super Bowl.
What's his value add besides accepting the tush pushes a plus EV thing and going for it on fourth down?
If you lose Nick, I think you lose Dom.
Oh,
big Dom.
Oh,
so perhaps that's driving it. All right, power numbers. Where do you want to start? Special teams.
Yeah, of course. What do you got there?
I was a little lower than you. No, I want to spend some serious time on special teams, as we often do. I only had a 4, and you had a 6. Defend your 6. You don't have to. I'm kidding. I'm using a blend of
Jake Elliott used to be good. Maybe
Jake Elliott's still,
you know what? You know why they have the 6, Andy? They're kick blocking.
Kick block.
Elite.
That's maybe my league. Again, I'm using Shat's DVOA. I'm using last year's EPA and making sure that it's still the same players.
The way we did this last year, I just listened to your numbers and changed them when you said it, because I honestly don't know.
Kickoffs were a clear positive, according to the.
I only have an opinion on one special teams number on the entire 32, and we'll get there eventually. Anyway,
that'll be fun. All right, quarterback. Let's go backwards. Let's start at the bottom.
All right, this is again phenomenally tough, because I think that Jalen Hurts is on the decline. I look at his EPA per play numbers over the last 3 years, and it tells me that this is a guy that should still be in this like 70th percentile range, despite trending down. 3 years ago, 0.259. 3 years ago, 2.59. 2 years ago, 2.44. Last year, 2.09. When you break down where those came from, the portion that came directly from having AJ Brown as a deep threat is so fucking big. It's huge. And now you got to figure out how to play differently. Change your game. Is he capable of that? This is all what we're going to learn about Jalen Hurts throughout the course of this year. I am starting with a 7.1 for him. And I have this one circled and noted as be prepared to go down.
So, yeah, I kind of started lower than it. Well, I am lower than you. I'm at a 6.5. It's still, so 6.5 still puts you in the upper third of starting quarterbacks. I want to say that, not everyone can be a 9.5. You got to be pretty damn good to have it's right in that Prescott tier. Just below some of the really, really good ones. And he's still a running threat. And I've tried to figure out how I want to grade running quarterbacks. And I think I almost need to start putting it in my skill position grades and separating it from passing.
Interesting.
Because I think it's almost like, hey, you're just another.
It's a skill tricky, that helps your passing.
I know, but it helps
so
exactly. But that's my pushback against myself. Like, it helps your passing when you're a running threat. So
honestly,
I don't know exactly.
This is a quarterback OC combined number, which to me means that, like, if you have that element to your game, that just makes that system so much more versattle and powerful. I think,
and that's the other reason I'm a little low. It's just it's an OC we've never seen call plays. So, I looked at it as attempt weighted passing efficiency. I looked at the PFF stuff. I looked at the EPA. I looked at everything and kind of tried to scheme out what changed last year that wasn't just Patullo. Was it something he did? It's very hard to suss anything out. So a little lower than you, 6.6 for me.
Okay, let me ask you. Are you going to have him above or below Sam Darnold?
I'm not telling you.
Come on. You got to have a guess. Gut check. Even if you haven't decided on what your Sam Darnold number is.
He's probably going to be. It's probably going to be very close.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Like Sam Darnold's probably in that same Dak range, right?
Same Dak.
He's not Jalen, elite, but
Sam, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Herbert.
I have Goff a little higher than that. I think I'd probably have Goff higher than Dak.
I have all of those guys higher. I have everyone we named right now higher than Hurts.
Seattle. All right, I'll just tell you, Sam Darnold's a 6.9.
So you're higher.
I'm higher on Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Some of that is OC number driving.
So, well, Seattle this we don't know anything about him either, do we?
I think it'll be fine.
Okay. All right. So I think the point I was trying to make by asking,
that's what I'm saying. That's why Sam's not a 7.
Oh, I see. I see.
But I do kind of think he'll be okay.
So what reason I was kind of laying it out that way is like right now we are in a very, very good place in the NFL as far as quarterback play goes. My numbers are based on sort of a very much longer time window of quality of quarterback play, and I have my average number is quite high compared to kind of the long-term average. I think we're in a good place. I think Hurts is squarely below a lot of the guys that would be considered second tier. And I think as I sit here and look at that number, I'm prepared to reduce it based on getting information that tells us how is he adapting to the new system he's in? How is he adapting to life after AJ Brown? This is a fragile one because you turn this down and all of a sudden it's only the defense propping up the Eagles as a positive team.
Yeah. Skill group, where'd you land without AJ?
5.0.
I thought I was going to be high. When I like to look at my numbers before I look at yours and see where and guess. And I felt like, I like to guess where I'm going to be high, and I'm at a 4.8 here.
Okay, totally defensible.
Again, I try to figure out the pass to run ratio. I try to do a little bit of who's getting what touches.
Yeah,
and it was just like, hey, it was a 125 target number one receiver that just isn't on this team anymore. DeVonta Smith is very good. He had similar target share last year. I think he was over 120, but the depth is real sketch after that because Makai Lemon could be very good. We've seen very good college wide receivers come in and just not get it at a pro level. And I don't know enough about that transition to really make a good assertion on that. I'll assume he's going to be fine, maybe good, maybe average, but all my grades for everything beyond that is tough. And even our old tight end, he's getting old. He's a little more injury prone. The Saquon thing he's getting a little bit older.
Saquon Barkley turns 30 years old in February.
Lot of miles on that right now.
I almost feel like I'm being generous having him as my expected RB7.
I do wonder what the game plan is because it's one of those where you wonder if like the fantasy people are just pissed because he got like 13 carries in week 1 and they win or something. It doesn't matter. And the other running back, Bigsby, gets like 7 or 8, 9, 10 maybe. And then you realize like, oh, this team feels like they can win playoff games and they don't need him coming into the playoffs with 350 carries. They need him coming into the playoffs with like 250. That would be a lot better for them if he were fully healthy and maybe a little fresher come playoff time. But at the same time, you still got to win enough games to get there. So I'm interested to see what the split looks like there. But I'm average.
I remember Saquon Barkley looking pretty fresh, Andy. Playoffs last year. He was lively against the Niners. I know. He was lively.
He's very
you know
tough.
what? It didn't matter because they were at a deficit and Hurts had to throw him back into the game and he couldn't do it.
Remember when he jumped backwards over that guy, though?
Yeah, that was great. The Jag guy. All right, man. I think we're right. League average. Offensive line for me. This one was I'm at a 7.4. And I am hardly accounting for the change in leadership.
I'm at a 6.2, and I didn't really lean on that.
What?
Much. I know it's tough because if you take last year's numbers, I ran it just with last year's numbers, and it was like a 5. I'm like, oh no, what? And it's because like they didn't play. You can't use last year's numbers a lot because what they did. What's your projection? Mailata, Dickerson.
I think this is going to be the fourth best unit. 4 for 4 agrees, by the way. They have them as the fourth best unit. Most of the offensive line Hardo analysts are kind of in that 1 to 2 range. Why are you in like you're on like the fringes of the top 10? What's going on?
I know it. I had to raise this. This number's come up because it's like, hey, well, a lot of last year's numbers that I was trying to use were just garbage, but they are incredibly thin after a very good starting lineup.
That's true.
And it took one injury last year. It wasn't some cluster injury event, which eventually we had multiple guys out. Then it got horrible. They were essentially like league bottom at some of the metrics we used to judge offensive lines. But it took one injury in like week 5, and suddenly they fell off the face of the earth on some of the metrics that mattered, and their run blocking got really bad. I think it was Dickerson week 5 ankle, Juergens week 7 against Minnesota, and a couple other times. Lane Johnson, he had a Liz Frank, an ankle, a stinger.
Still had like 500-ish snaps last year, didn't he?
I know
431.
What's his age?
He
logged 449 snaps last year, 10 appearances out of a possible 18 with the playoff game.
That's spooky.
But, like, if you have to play Fred Johnson at tackle, he's below league average. They played Brett Toth, Matt Pryor. They played a rookie, Drew Kendall. A lot of it was just it's a depth issue for me, and the fact that all of these guys have gotten hurt or are old, or in the case of a couple of them are just a little younger. So I'm very much in the low end. I looked at this, and this is the one I probably do need to just say, Andy, you're leaning too hard into the future. And for week 1,
that's what we're supposed to be doing, though.
I know, and it's like for week 1, my number's fucked. Like I think I am going to adjust this. The more I looked at it, it's like how am I justifying some of this?
So I mean, your point on the aging thing is real. Lane Johnson is 36. I didn't realize he was that old.
And coming off a Liz Frank injury.
I know.
His grading slipped. Dickerson's grading slipped.
I'm going to push back on the grading slip thing. I had Lane Johnson as a top 3 pass blocking tackle in his snaps, and I had him as a top 15 run blocker. I have Mailata as a top 3 run blocker. He was
like top 1,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
That's I think his 2024 grades are just so high. It's like he's on a downward trend for me.
Yeah, that's fair. How about the interior guys?
Okay. Maybe I need to come up to like a 6.87 on this.
Yeah, you're not outrageous. This is another one. Like the quarterback and the offensive line, I have both of them circled, and I'm circling my numbers this year as a tracking mechanism. I'm color bordering them as a keep an eye on this, prepare to go down. Keep an eye on this, prepare to go up.
I love that.
And both of those two are ones that I'm like absolutely going to interrogate after we got a couple weeks of data.
Here's the thing. Here's a real quick thing, because we're almost running behind. We are running behind. I almost need to start to look at this in 2 ways. I need to build a set of numbers for power ratings. I'm going to put a team on the field for the next game, and I need to rate them against their opponent next week.
Okay.
And then I need to build a different set of power numbers built on fragility and depth and what ifs and stuff like that. And that needs to be more of a trying to find value in long shot futures.
Sure.
And I think I'm blending that too much, and I think that's why I'm fucking this up.
That's okay.
My offense ranked.
I don't think this may age well. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Again, especially because
he yelled at me when I was out on. Who's the kicker? Who's the creepy kicker?
Oh, like, yeah. What the fuck was that guy's name?
I'm gonna hold on to that forever. The opera singer.
Right.
He's already gone. A man dies twice. It's when he dies and the last time someone utters his name. And maybe we shouldn't say his name anymore because he might be a sex pest. My offense is rated at a flat 6.
Okay. I'm at 6 points, basically 6.65, so 67th percentile. It's a top 10 offense on paper for me right now, and I don't feel great about it. Defensive side of the ball is much trickier because I feel like these are all numbers that I am going to evaluate and potentially go up. I also expect that throughout the balance of the season, a Vic Fangio defense is going to be better in November and December and January than it is in September and October. So expecting an arc of improvement out of this defense. So starting a little bit on the lower side, I went 5.7 with the run stop. My pass rush is only a 4.9 and my coverage is a 6.7. A lot of guys I like, a lot of potential for step forward here. Coverage could end up being the best in the entire NFL, and I won't be surprised. But looks like we're not all that far apart.
We're not. I'm higher on pass rush than you, and then a little bit lower on coverage, not by much. And then our first match, I believe, of the year, run stop, both at 57th percentile above average. Some of it is the Jonathan Greenard thing. I think that's really useful in a Fangio defense. Some of it is just Zack Baun probably can even get better up front and assist what's happening there. You added the guy from Atlanta whose name I don't do.
Ebiketie.
I mean, it was a defense that finished like 5th in pass defense DVOA last year, and this was like, oh, they lost Milton Williams. Is there going to be problems up front? Are we going to be able to backfill that? And I don't know. They just keep finding guys that work out in the first at all 3 levels of the defense. So I'm going to be higher, even though the sack total, which isn't always the best indicator of a good pass defense, it's kind of ordinary in the middle, but pressure was good. The pass defense rankings were good, and everything else I used obviously graded out nice. And so 6.1 for me on that. And then, as we mentioned, run stop, we were both at 5.7. You got some top-tier defensive tackles in the middle. You got Zack Baun. You got Jihad Campbell in the second level, who's pretty damn decent. And again, it was like, hey, we lost Milton Williams. How's the middle of this defense going to look? And it was pretty damn fine. So I think we're going to be fine there. And then you were a little higher on coverage than me. Love Mitchell, love DeJean, love Reek Woolen. He was like a starter on a Super Bowl team. He was your 3rd guy in that secondary. And I think it's probably a good and getting better coverage group. But this, what's the safety? Makuba?
Yeah, I like him. He's fun.
He's fine. I think that's where I'm a little lower. It's like the safety group it's fine. So just a tinge lower there.
Yep. All right. Defense for me right now is the defense for me right now is 8th, but it's kind of only because there are 7 really, really fucking good defenses in the NFL right now. I cannot make a case to put them any higher than 8th, even though Vic Fangio deserves all the respect in the world. There are some just rock solid units that we're gonna have to deal with.
So what do we got? Is it just Houston, Denver, Seattle, Denver, Rams, Vikings?
Those are your top 5. Period.
Lions.
If that's not the top 5, I'm going to be pretty surprised. Would you?
Yeah. No, I'm going to say it's funny. I just sorted and I have them 8th. It's close, but I have them tied. Well, I have a tie for 8th between 2 teams that both reside in the same state. Because I'm a little higher on the Pittsburgh Steelers defense than I think the market is. But yeah, the Browns obviously took a step back with 1 player, but still have some players they can get in this mix. The Lions are a weird one to rate, but there's kind of a mess there right below Philly that I'm going to have to sort out too. That's interesting.
I have a lot of work to do to finalize my other defensive numbers besides the NFC East so far, but there's no world where I'm not Rams, Texans, Broncos,
Seahawks.
Thank you. I don't know why I was blanking. And then Vikings. That's almost certainly my top 5.
Should be top 5. All right, little schedule talk before we bet on this team.
See what we got. Favorite a lot.
Yeah, there is a decent amount of primetime games. They play on Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. They play in London against the Jags. They play a Monday night game in week 3. They have to wait till week 3 to get a primetime game. A couple more Monday nights. You get the Monday in Dallas versus Dallas. Double duty there. 2 weeks in a row against division rivals in primetime. And like I mentioned, Dallas, both games are primetime. And then a Sunday night late game, week 17, at the team that busted you out of the playoffs last year, the Niners. Soft open, kind of, I suppose. Depends how you feel about their chances versus the Bears, but softish. It's kind of a tough one at the end. I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions on how Indy plays, but Indy has a high ceiling, I think. And if they're good, that's a motherfucker of a stretch there with Indy, Seattle, Houston, Niners. And then, hopefully you're playing for something against the Giants. There's some gimmies, I suppose. Arizona's on the schedule. You have the Giants and Washington at home. Those are games you have to win. Same thing with Tennessee and Carolina. But it's, I don't know, middle of the pack schedule, I suppose.
I think actually this is the easiest schedule of the NFC East teams in terms of strength of opponent, but it is offset by the fact that you got to play 4 teams coming off their bias. And actually, like, the sequence of fly to London to play the Jags, come home and play the Panthers off their bye is kind of diabolical. Hey, go log 10,000 frequent flyer miles and then play a rested team at home.
Yeah. That pink is galling. So, and anyone who's ever seen these, the pink is when basically it has to be somebody coming off their bye because they have a 6-day rest advantage. Yeah. And you get one, but everybody, well, not everybody, some of them get neutered. But 4 is a lot. I feel like we complained when someone has to do this 3 times. Twice in a row, 3 and 4 weeks is not great, especially when the only other game split in there is a tough one versus Dallas.
Yeah, and it's 3 and 4 weeks after traveling internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I feel like your offensive line point is going to be really, 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 really fun to victory lap is that stretch of games there. Like that, probably the Giants game, honestly. Like the offensive line is going to be beaten up. They're going to be gassed. And now they're going up against a good pass rush,
Jacksonville might be pretty serviceable defense.
Yeah.
Carolina has some pieces. Dallas definitely. I mean, in the middle at least.
Well, yeah.
There's some Dallas or Pittsburgh, Dallas again.
Yeah.
Indy, Seattle, Houston. That's the rough part too. The Indy, Seattle, Houston. If your offensive line is not 100% at that point in the year, which is the least likely time of the year for it to be 100%.
Yeah.
And Bernie's asking about a bye. Is there a bye point? If they're showing some life at the bye, is it a bye point? Man. And some of that will come down to, how's Dallas looking? How's Indy looking? How's Houston? Niners?
Honestly, I got to tell you, if that stretch of international travel and then playing a bunch of teams with extra rest, if that kind of undoes you a bit, even if you're winning and that's a good question. Sirianni fired in season would be something. You have to have completely lost the locker room by the time you get to the bye week.
Is it just a Fangio? You're the coach in
I don't know.
Name only. Obviously, we're not. Or do you go? Because can you name the special teams coach?
No.
Michael.
I guess
Clay.
I'm Michael Clay. Oh, okay. No, because there's a world where you're winning, but you're eking some stuff out. You're not covering against the teams you're healthy favorites to in the first 9 weeks of the season, and there's serious pressure on everybody come the bye. But I also don't love the idea that you're playing on Thanksgiving in the most watched game of the entire season. You're playing then on a Saturday standalone before Christmas. You're playing on Thursday night of Christmas Eve. That is going to be held heavily watched game. Niners on Sunday Night Football after week 17. That's going to be a absolute all of the eyes in the world on you. Like you're going to get a lot of scrutiny in the back half of this season, which is why I think like ultimately this feels like the offense lands in the 20s. The defense is top 10. The Eagles are on the kind of fringes of winning the division again. And Sirianni's probably gone if they underwhelm in that Saturday, Christmas Eve, Sunday night stretch at the end of the season. 15, 16, 17. If they lose those games, Sirianni's gone. And the Eagles don't make the playoffs, which I think is possible. I'm eyeing that Eagles miss the playoffs price, Sandy. I'm eyeing it.
That's interesting.
I think there's only one way I trend with this team in terms of rating them. I think I'm at my highest point of the season with them right now.
Yeah, I'd have to look where Lemon sits for offensive rookie of the year. Maybe just because somebody's got to fill a void, and then nature abhors a vacuum. But like Saquon Barkley's, top 10 for OPOI. I think that ship's kind of sailed for him getting that again. We're not betting Hurts MVP or OPOI or anything. It's not the right kind of setup for him to put up those kind of gaudy numbers. So I don't know that there's some like player bet here. The Sirianni first coach fired. If it really goes downhill, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, somebody else is going to get popped in season probably.
Yeah, it does feel like they have some sort of middling season, and then they have to have a conversation. You know what? I'm going to put this into the universe. It's going to be we just split ways. We parted ways. It's not a firing. He wants to go try to work somewhere else, and he wasn't shitty enough for us to be like, yeah, we had to get rid of him. They won 4 games. Like if you win, you're hoping they don't win 9 games. That's your worst, because then you're like, I kind of want to get rid of this guy, but we weren't that bad. And again, you can do whatever you want because you own or manage the team. Fuck it.
How do you feel about a 7 seed convincing loss on the road in Detroit in the 2-7 matchup?
That would help. So again, if you got blown out in the playoffs, like losing by 30 in the playoffs, that's an easy one. Even with 10-11 wins, I think a playoff wildcard blowout that'd be a good one for Howie and the gang and the owners to take care of business there.
That's it.
Interesting little point to that. If Dallas does win this division, but Philadelphia with a elite defense and a good enough offense wins 9, 10, 11, 12 games, whatever, and still ends up in a wild card spot, they'd play a road game to start the playoffs, which is what wild cards are forced to do. If you look at their schedule, they end the season. Why can't I get the damn? Are we both clicking it?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, I couldn't get it to go up. If you look at their schedule, their last 2 games are a cross-country trip to San Francisco and then a little jaunt up to New Jersey, but 2 road games. Yeah. They could be on their 3rd straight road game if they're a wild card team, and it could be like
Seattle.
Could be right back to Seattle or San Francisco.
At LA, yeah. At Detroit, at Chicago.
Could be kind of a shitty situational spot. Yeah, at Minnesota, at Detroit.
At Dallas.
At Chicago.
All right, man. I think
at New Orleans.
I'm not especially far off market here with these guys. Market has them in the +3 range. I think if you're starting out with them at the +3 range, you're on sides. But this is one of those teams where I'm kind of hoping they win and cover early in the schedule, and then you can find an opportunity to bet against them as the attrition starts to hurt their
I don't know that we ever said our ratings out loud. I am a +3.16. Drew is a +3.95. And would you say your market rating was?
Market has them at 3.56.
We're projecting. How many wins are you projecting? Kind of right around their win total. 9, 10.
My win projection is 11.4 for them.
I'm at a 10.1. Market win totals roughly 10.4 according to what I ran.
I did something different with my win total projections, but today's not the day to dive into it. Let's talk about it when we're talking about a shittier team that we don't have content for.
Sure. All right. let's call it on the Eagles. This is a fun one. It's a fun division. I don't know what division we're doing next week, but we'll do one. And we'll be back Monday. AFC East? Yeah. Okay. Where does that start? Does that start in Miami or does it start in New York?
Yeah. Fins, Jets.
Fins, Jets.
Pats.
Bills. Yeah.
Pats, Bills. I think
fun.
Bills are favored for
Bills.
whatever reason.
We'll be back. Yeah. We'll be back Monday with Miami and the New York Jets for those of you.
Dude, the Bills are minus 160 to win the AFC East. Yikes.
Super Bowl hangover, dude. The losing team, man.
I guess.
Who lost the Super Bowl last year?
It was the Chiefs.
2 years.
Chiefs. It was the Chiefs. Yeah.
And what happened to Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, he tore his ACL.
Yeah. Super Bowl hangover, guys.
That's how that works. Real quick, since we did it, we got an hour. We stayed under. We stayed on topic. World Cup final.
Spain won, Argentina 0 in extra time.
Yeah.
France 5, England 0. Third place match.
0-0 draw at halftime.
I think I'm betting that.
1-1 draw final time.
That's fun. Draw.
Draw.
The draw, double result.
Double result. Draw.
Draw. All right. Enjoy the World Cup finals.
Argentina lifts the trophy.
That'd be funny.
Argentina lifts the trophy.
I didn't realize how many people are mad about that. Like, people are.
Argentina 2-1 with a goal in extra time. Everybody assumes it's going to be PKs.
Why can't I find the music?
But they get a goal.
There it is.
Messi, golden ball. Mbappe, golden boot.
Golden boots.
Yamal, young player of the tournament.
Yeah, kind of. Everyone had to see him in a bathtub, so you got to vote for him.
He does look very young in that picture.
He's a baby.
Yeah, how are they letting him play?
I don't know. Messi with long hair kills.